power of love. Actually, if we were to open up newspaper every day, there are many things that we see nowadays. In fact, there are some people, they don't like to read newspaper. Basically, newspaper carry bad news. It's either about airplane crash, car crash, business not doing well, husband quarrel with wife, political unrest, racial unrest, all kinds of things you can see in the newspaper. So some people don't like to read newspaper because they think it's very negative. But I guess Buddhists, we should not look at it that way. Even in the negative thing itself, there is Dhamma also for us to learn. Okay? But anyway, that's besides the point. So if we were to look around the world now, there's one question which most people would tend to ask. There's so many religions in this world. Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Sikhism, Taoism, Shintoism, Judaism, Bahaism, all kinds of ism that you can think of. There's so many religions in this world, yet the world is still filled with a lot of unrest, hatred, and also trouble. Now, why do you think such thing happen? Now, by right, we have a lot of population in this country itself. For example, in this country or in the world itself, predominantly they are Christians. They may be Muslims. They may be Buddhist. They may be Jewish, or whatever it is. How come there are so many people in this world professing a religion, and yet the world is so unpeaceful? Have you ever thought about that? Are you all following me? Yes. Because it's very difficult to get response in the afternoon. So why are there so much unrest in this world? There are some people who say, you look at the world, look at the Middle East, the Christians are fighting with the Muslims. Look at Ireland, where the Catholic and the Protestants are fighting. Look at Punjab, the Hindus and the Sikh are fighting. Look at every part of the world. You find that people are fighting in the name of religion. Some people say, in that sense, in that case, I do not want to be a religious person. After all, there's no difference between me and a religious person. They are fighting also. They are talking a lot about religion, but they are fighting among themselves. So some people think, I better remain as a free thinker. In that sense, it's better. But does this statement justify what is happening? Why are there so much problem in this world amidst all the religion? Can I get some feedback? Yes. Yes.
Crazy for attention, crazy for assistance, crazy for knowledge.
Okay, that's a little bit very deep down here. We can give a special talk about that topic also. That's not wrong. Okay, wrong views, correct? All correct. What else? Okay. Good. No understanding. All right. People don't practice, just talk only. Okay. Good. Unsatisfactoriness. Okay. Accepted. Of course, there are many reasons why there's so much trouble in this world. Of course, if you want to really analyze according to Buddhism, they only fall back into three roots only. The three roots of evil, greed, hatred, and delusion. But let us now look at it in a more narrow scope, where we're talking about people killing one another, people fighting one another, people hate one another, one nation, go to war with another nation, one family not having a good relationship with another family, brothers are not good among brothers, sisters also not good among sisters, father and mother not alright, and things like that. Now basically, Why the world? You know, there are so many religions in this world, and yet there's so much vengeance, so much ill will, so much hatred. It's because the world still evolved in a certain way. Number one, the world still involved in personal love. Wait, huh? Okay. Now, of course, there are many more. Now, people talk a lot about love. I think basically all religions talk about love. Especially Christianity, they emphasize a lot about love. But is it enough just to talk about love? And even if they talk about love, even if they were to practice love, what kind of love are they practicing? That word love have to be redefined if you are a Buddhist. Because basically every religion has different definition of love. What do they mean by love? You can talk a lot about love, but it means different things to different people. To a person who's crazy about car, his love is only car. Okay, you give him the best Porsche car or Ferrari or any kind of that kind of car, that is his love. A person who loves gardening, his love is just flowers, orchids and things like that, you know. A person who likes painting, his love is just sceneries and whatever good things that he feels is beautiful, that is his love. So love means different things to different people. And that means different things to different religion also. Okay? Now the world still have a lot of problem because we involve in our activities in these few circles. Personal love, family love, racial love, religious love, political love, for that matter. Now all this love, according to Buddhism, are not real love. Okay? Because the Buddhist definition of love is very much different. We don't define love in terms of boundary. There is a boundary. Now, the love that we talk about in Buddhism, I'm sure all of you know the word for it. Yes? Do you know the word? Metta. Well, of course, this word has been loosely translated as loving kindness. Because the word loving itself is not good enough, you see. So they add in one more word in the English word. Loving must have kindness. Thank you. You see, some love, there is no kindness. And love can turn into hatred also. Okay? So we have seen a lot of stories. I'm sure you have followed certain Cantonese series, you have seen certain movies, you have read certain novels. How love, which is too much obsessed with certain things, it can turn into hatred itself. Okay? Now, this love that I'm going to talk about this afternoon, which actually, to put it loosely, it is called love, but the Pali equivalent is called metta. An English word they have translated into loving kindness, because it's just not good enough to have loving, you must have kindness. Okay? So the Buddhist form of love is there must be kindness existing. If there is no kindness existing, that love is not real love. That is an artificial love. A love which you try to create. You try to make it happen, but it doesn't come with a sincerity. Okay? Can follow so far? Uncles? Can, huh? Alright. Now this metta is the number 9 parami. You know the paramis? Mandarin they call polomito, the paramis. Now these paramis, there are 10 paramis where a bodhisattva have to practice to perfect himself. So one of the perfection he has to do is the perfection of metta. So this metta parami is the 9th parami. And metta is the first among the 4 Brahma Viharas. Metta, Karuna, Mudita and Upekkha. Okay? So I'm sure all of you are quite well versed in this. It's the first among the 4 Brahma Viharas. Now I'll not go into the 4 Brahma Viharas. Maybe we can have another talk about the 4 Brahma Viharas later. Now, The definition of this metta means something which softens one's heart. That means that feeling is so strong that it can soften a person's heart. It is, if he is very stingy, he can become very generous after that. If he is very hot-tempered, he can become very patient after that. If he is very foolish, after that, he learns the wise thing, something which softens one's heart. Now, it is a sincere wish for the welfare and happiness of all beings. Now, this is a kind of metta which does not confine to yourself, but to others. Now, metta, or this word which I loosely put it as love, it is not a passionate love. You know passionate love? Your own passionate feeling, but the sincere wish for the welfare and happiness of others. Okay? Now, before I go on with this topic, maybe it is important for us to know what is actually the Buddhist definition of love. Now, the Buddhist definition of love is that it is not carnal love or personal love. It is not a love between a man and a woman, a boy and a girl, a husband and a wife, father and a mother. Of course, they are love. There exists love, but that kind of love, according to Buddhism, is a very narrow way of putting the word love, defining the word love. Because normally when you love a person, sometimes you get jealous easily. For example, if I have a girlfriend, just for example, alright? Now, assuming I go and attend a certain function, certain party, or certain important function. Now, let's say I really love this girl so much. Let's assume. And now, because I went somewhere and she was there, another person come nearer to her and talk to her. Now, if the love is very strong for her, how would I feel? Okay, it's okay. Now, if you think it's okay, that's good. You see, some of you really have a lot of, you know how to renounce certain feelings. You see, but normally when we refer to this kind of carnal love or personal love, you get too personal sometimes. So you feel jealous. How come sit so near some more? Talk, you don't have to sit so near. You have that kind of feeling, So now this is very mild form of defilement in the mind, which we call jealousy or ill will. Certain very mild. Now, this feeling, if challenged, constantly challenged, what will it turn to? Hatred. Now, hatred is a stronger feeling now, You can see, ill will or sometimes jealousy, you can't really see, You can feel jealous inside people and you can still smile at the same time you feel jealous. Some people can do that. Okay, they smile at you, okay, but inside feeling very jealous. But a little bit more intensified kind of a feeling is hatred. This is where you can see it through their facial expression. The face turn red, heart beats faster, breathing grows shorter. Those are the signs of hatred. Now, when hatred gets intensified, it becomes violence. That means it's not only thoughts already. You see, when you have hatred, probably you will use your mouth, scold back, curse, whatever it is. But when it gets intensified, the bodily action comes. You can even go to the extent of killing, fighting. Okay, so you see the degree, So personal love. If you love a person, it is good to love a person. If it's your wife, you must love your wife. This is what you should do as a layman. Of course, if you are on a spiritual path, it's a different story altogether. But if you're a layman, you must love your wife. You must love your own husband. You must love whatever it is, your own people. But don't get too far. Because once you get too far, you start to detect your territory very clearly. This is my wife, mine, everything mine. You it tends to detect your territory. And when someone just happens to cross that territory, you get very upset. And that's where it can turn into bad feeling. So metta is not that kind of personal love. Okay? So far can get it? Now metta is not neighborliness. That means you stay in Sentoh, he stays in Sentoh, we are neighbors, we are same kampung, therefore we protect one another. Now there are some people, sad to say, for example, the Kelantan Malays, their daerah, semangat kedaerahan very strong. As long as you come from Kelantan, you can speak Kelantan dialect, you belong to their state people, anak negeri. You may be a Malay, but you may not be a Kelantan Malay. You go to Kelantan, you're still not accepted as anak negeri. That kind of feeling, very strong. And they would not mix with another group of people from another state sometimes. And this is very obvious in the varsity also, where you find the Kelantan Malays will group among themselves. Okay? Then the Sabahan will group among themselves. The Sarawakians will group among themselves. This is what I call neighborliness. The love among the neighbors or certain territory. Now Buddhist understanding of love is not that kind of love. And this is especially true, in certain places, especially among Chinese community. I was in Bentong, teaching in Bentong. In Bentong town itself, surrounding the town, there are 5 new villages. Ketari, Perting, Kemaso, what else? Kemaso, there are 5 altogether, if I'm not mistaken. 5 of them. Now, one new village, if you're from one new village, you better not to go to the other new village. You go to that new village, you are in trouble. Because each new village has its gangsters movement, and they protect their own people. So if you think of getting a girl from the other new village as your wife, you better think twice. You have to go through a lot of process. Okay? That is a feeling of neighborliness. They protect their own community down there. But when others come into the community, they get very hostile. That is not metta. Okay? Now, metta is not universal brotherhood. Why do I say so? Or why do Buddhists say so? Basically, you see, the difference between Buddhism and other religions is that we do not look at existence or sentient beings as only human beings that we must love among. Oh, we are brothers and sisters. Why should we kill? But you can kill the dog. You can kill a cat. You can kill others. They believe that. But among brothers and sisters, human beings, no killing. They believe. That is what we call universal brotherhood. But the Buddhist definition of love is not universal brotherhood. We go beyond human realm. So when you practice metta, you do not think about human being only. You think about other beings that exist in this universe. Okay? That is why it is not universal brotherhood. Now, metta, or the Buddhist definition of love, is not political brotherhood. Now, there is a saying which says that in politics, you don't have your permanent friends, neither do you have your permanent enemies. You have heard of this, huh? In Mandarin, it says, 没有永久的朋友，也没有永久的敌人. That means you don't have a permanent friends or permanent enemies in politics. And I'm sure if you were to turn a newspaper every day, you will agree with this statement also. Today I may go against you, tomorrow I may be your good friend. Today I'm your best partner, next day I may be your worst enemy. That is what in politics. So, Buddhist definition of love is not political love. It doesn't mean you belong to the same party. Oh, we must love one another. The next day you leave the party, go away. It's not that kind of thing. Okay? We have seen crisis like MCA crisis. We have seen AMNO crisis. We have seen many other crises in other political parties. And if you have read the book, I Want to Live, have you read the book, I Want to Live? The communist, the girl who was a communist, who gave his story of how she escaped from the communist camp. Among the comrades themselves, who supposed to share the same political ideology, there are a lot of jealousy, a lot of suspicion going on until they can even kill one another. So Buddhist definition of love is not political love, because political love have its territory, and sometimes it is tinged with greed, hatred. Okay? Can follow so far? Number 1, it is not personal love. Number 2, it is not neighborliness. Number 3, it is not universal brotherhood, because we talk about other beings existing. Number 4, it is not political love. Number 5, the Buddhist definition of love is that it is not racial brotherhood. Of course, it is very natural for one race to love another race. Very natural for Chinese to feel for the Chinese, for Malay to feel for the Malays, for the Indian to feel for the Indian. That's natural. Okay? Even dogs crowd among themselves. Cats also mix among themselves. It's very rarely you can see dogs and cats together. Very rare. Okay? Unless you bring up the dogs and cats together since young. Maybe they can be together. But if, night time, if you were to walk along certain street, you see all the dogs having their own meeting, right? They have their own convention every night. So same thing with human beings. It's very natural for Chinese to love Chinese, for Malays to love Malay, for Indians to love, for that matter. Because you fall into the same community. Okay? But if you love your race so much that you forget about other race, this is where it becomes bad. This is where it is not the Buddhist definition of love. We have seen a lot of political unrest because of racial things. I'm sure you know what I mean. And in fact, Buddhist definition of love is not restricted to race or nation. In fact, it goes beyond that. We have seen how during Second World War, Hitler, a man who loved his own race, who believed his race is the most superior race, who doesn't accept the existence of another race which is also quite good in their intellectualism in many ways. What did he do in Second World War? He killed many, Jews. The German killed many Jews during Second World War. Why? Because of this racial feeling. The Nazi movement, which is basically racial in its color. We have seen in Pretoria, apartheid movement. It's also based on racialism. The Zionists, I believe there are many Israelis, they are not racialists. The racialists are the politicians, are those people who have who champion this movement called the Zionist movement. That's why sometimes you see the Israelis demonstrate also against the government, because they don't agree. Okay? But anyway, the Buddhist definition of love is not racial brotherhood. Okay? Next one. The Buddhist definition of love is not religious brotherhood. Oh, you are a Buddhist? You are a Buddhist? You are a Buddhist? Oh, we must love one another. The Buddha tells us to love one another. You are not a Buddhist? Sorry, you do not fall into my category. Therefore, I do not love you. Do we behave like that? Do we look at other people of other religion with eyes full of hatred? Do we do that? Do we wake up every morning and look around, oh, he's a sinner, or he doesn't fall into my category? Do we behave like that every day? If we behave like that, then we are not practicing metta. There are many people, they do not share the same religious views as you, and they do not accept you also, for that matter, and they go to the extent of bringing trouble for you. I normally go up to Genting Highland to give talks to the Genting Buddhist group. The people down there always complain to me this problem that there are many people who work, many workers work under the superiors who are not Buddhists. And they make life very miserable for these workers just because they know they are Buddhists. That is not metta according to Buddhism. You love your religion, but you suppress other religious people. Buddhist concept of metta is that it doesn't matter whether you are Christians, you're Muslims, you're Hindu, whosoever it is. If there is a time for you, is a time you need help, I must help. Not because you are a Buddhist, not because you are a Christian, not because you're Hindu, but because we are all human beings. We need help, and we need to be helped at times. Okay? So we have seen in history actually how people don't share the same religion, they kill one another. In those days, people do not share the Christian view. What do? During the Dark Ages? What do? They throw those people who does not share the same belief into the lion's den. You know lion's den? Lion's den is just like the Stadium Merdeka, Stadium Negara, where you got the place for sitting and the center is empty. You just let go the lions, throw you, and you will play hide and seek with the lion.
I think this is Roman time, right?
Pardon?
That's Roman time, not Christian time. Roman.
Even during the Christian Dark Ages, they do that also. They do that. Yes. And they do burn them also, like Joan of Arc has been burned. Okay? There are cases like this, and many people's heads have been chopped off also. There are many things are not written down, of course, in history also. It was done because people do not share the same religious belief. Alright? So, now the point which I'm trying to bring here is that people have been killed because they do not share the same religious belief. Okay? That is the point which I'm trying to bring. And in fact, if you were to seriously study history, you find that the time when the West was in the darkest period was the time when Christianity was the strongest period. This is for your information only. That is what we call the Dark Ages, where people who have scientific views will be taken as stray from the religious path, and they'll be, either sentenced to jail or to be executed. Okay? Once, long time ago, the Christian believed that the earth was flat. One wise guy came around and said it's round, and for that he was sentenced, Alright? Yes, this is, And once the church believed that the earth was the center of the universe, that all things evolve around the earth. But one wise guy come around and says, no, we went around the sun. And because of that, he was in trouble. Okay, that was during the Dark Ages. And because of that, there came the Renaissance period, the new era, the Renaissance. Well, that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say here is because people who do not share the same religious belief, they have been crucified, they have been killed, they have been tortured, or whatever it is. Now, if we value religious love as the ultimate love, then I guess we are practicing the wrong kind of love according to Buddhism. Because your love, not because you're a Buddhist, therefore I helped you. If a Christian come around and he's in trouble and he's your neighbor, you have to help him. Not because he's a Buddhist or he's not a Buddhist, but because he's a human being. He suffers. You need to help him. That is why I say the Buddhist definition of love is not confined to territory. Whether it's religion, whether it's racial, or anything for that matter. Now I guess it's very natural for us to, for example, I just would like to give about racial things also. And it's very common kind of statement people make now, especially by certain group of people. For example, sometimes you see certain young boys and then they go out, they happen to see an accident, go back and tell their parents, say, hey, mommy or papa, I saw an accident, or I tell their grandfather or grandmother. Then sometimes these people will ask, hai mai thong yan la? Malayan la? That's normally they will say. They will ask such questions. Now if we were to talk in that way, I guess basically we are not practicing metta. Because basically, it doesn't matter whether it's a Chinese in trouble or an Indian in trouble or a Malay in trouble. He is in trouble. He needs help. You don't value, thong yan la? Aiya, Holland, oh, Malayan, or Keling yang, tai sei, There's some people who think like that. Okay? Now, if you think like that, your definition of love is confined to racial boundary. Now, if we will have such a thought, let us think it in another way. It so happened one day, let's say, we happen to be involved in an accident. Okay? Then came one person driving a car and he so happened to be a Malay or a Hindu or Indian or whatever race it is. He would just drive and look, oh, Chinese and then he drive away. How would you feel? At that time, what you needed most is help, right? You don't mind who helped you. Be it Indian, Malay, Chinese, Eurasian, whatever race it is. You don't mind. So, if you were to think, every time if you were to think in terms of racial love, think twice. If you were to be in his position, would you mind an Indian helping you? Would you mind a Malay helping you? I'm sure you won't mind, you welcome. So same thing, we should not look at it that way. We should go beyond that. Let the political thing, leave it to the politician. Let us not be influenced by them sometimes. Especially in terms of humanitarian ground. We have to think in terms of that. As a Buddhist, our definition of love is different. So, I said just now, metta is not personal love. Metta is not neighborliness. Metta is not universal brotherhood. Metta is not political brotherhood, racial brotherhood, and religious brotherhood. Of course, there are many other things you can think of, but basically, those are the... Now, if you think along that line, then you are not practicing metta. So you think, now maybe you can see that it's not very easy to practice metta, Some people can call themselves Buddhists for years, but yet they are very racialist. Some people call themselves Buddhists for years, yet they become very religious fanatics. Okay? So we must think. Sometimes we have to recheck ourselves. Who are you? If you are a Buddhist, you must think as a Buddhist already. You must not think sometimes like a Chinese. You must not sometimes think like a certain group of people from certain territory or areas. So metta transcends all narrow brotherhood. There is no limit in our love. Okay? So you may belong to MCA, I may be Gerakan, but you want a transfer. I have the power. Sometimes he cannot get transferred because of political differences. But if you're a Buddhist, you should not think that way. You have to weigh his application, why he wanted the transfer. Or his father is very old and sick. He needs a transfer. On that ground, you should transfer him. Not because he's an MCA man, I'm a Gerakan man, or I'm a Gerakan man, he's an MCA man, therefore he does not deserve. Or maybe he's a Malay, I'm a Chinese. So if you think in terms of that, you're not practicing metta. Metta has no territory or boundaries. Okay? Got it? Now, how you should practice metta, of course, in the Buddhist scripture, it is given the simile that it should be like a sun which gives warmth and light to every part of the world equally. Okay? The sun does not say, oh, this month I want to shine only in Malaysia. So the sun shines in Malaysia. All other parts are dark. The sun does not do that. Also, oh, I only shine to the rich man. You know. All the poor men don't have sunshine. The sun would not do that. Likewise, we must be like the sun, giving our love, our warmth to the people around us. Can follow so far? Yes? Okay. Now don't keep too quiet, you know. There are only two possibilities. Either you are following or you're not following. Okay? You're following and you understand. Now, this sublime quality of love. Yeah, it's a little bit hot at the back. Maybe you can vote. It's nice to lean against the wall, but when it's hot, then you have a choice to make, whether to lean or to stay on. Alright. Now the love that we practice, we must try to practice in such a way that there is no discrimination between the pleasant and the unpleasant. For example, some people's face you like to look at because they're very pleasant. Sometimes so pleasant that you get attached to their face or their appearance. And some people's face you just don't wish to see. You just hate to see, for that matter. And especially if he or she is in the same office and you're having trouble. You're having a lot of dukkha because you see the face you don't like to see every day. So, if you want to practice metta, it has to be a balance between these two. You must show your metta to people that you love and to people that you do not love. It's very difficult, you know. Especially as for myself, involved in educational line. Some teachers don't like to go to C, D, E, F, G, H class. The one nearest to the toilet one, they don't like to go. Well, some HM also got that kind of mentality. They know they are bad students or poor students in terms of academics. They put them nearest to the toilet, you know. And this student got nothing to do, you know. Some of the teachers do not like to teach because they think they are stupid. And this student also think they are stupid. So every now and then they'll go to the toilet. So I think because of that, they put nearest to the toilet to convenience, you know. But as I did tell some of the teachers, not because they are H class students, therefore you should treat them differently. I guess if you're a Buddhist teacher, you must learn to love them in their own way also. No matter how bad a student may be in H class or, you know, Z class for that matter, I'm sure in each individual, there will be something beautiful in him or her that you can find out. The student may not know ABC or 1, 2, 3, you know, they not know how to ager, NYA, nya, NYI, nyi, but it becomes nyamo after that. He doesn't know how to ager properly. But still, he is a human being. There are certain things in him or her that is worth for you to work upon. Maybe he is very kind-hearted. He may be stupid, but he's kind-hearted. So those are the things we must work upon, you see. Work on if we are an educator. So, your metta should not differentiate between the pleasant and the unpleasant. It should be equal. Okay? Metta should not be practiced among the rich only and the poor you neglect. Or the poor only, the rich no need metta. Both equally need. Metta should not be practiced among those with high social status and you neglect the low social status. No. It should be. In that sense, there are no discrimination. Metta should not be practiced among men only, but to women also. Okay? That means both sexes. And of course, to the third sex if you can also. There are some people who look at the Pondan with one kind of eyes, as if, I guess nobody wants to be born in that kind of situation. Who wants to be born as a Pondan? Nobody wants. But, some, they have no choice. They are born because of their certain karma in the past. They are born in that way. Okay? So we should not look at them and say, oh yeah, these people like that. I'm sure many of them, they want to start a new life if there is a possibility. Okay? Metta should not be practiced among humans alone. It must be towards other beings as well. In other words, there is no boundary, there is no discrimination of colors, social status. Not because you have the same color, not the same color, too dark, a little bit fair. No metta. Not because the color of the eyes, blue, orange, different color, cannot. Not because you share different hair colors, therefore we cannot become friends in this world. So metta has no boundary. It has no discrimination. How to practice it is very difficult. But you must continue having such thoughts that I should not discriminate. That is the first step towards practicing metta. Every time you tend to have a little bit more of any of the feeling, personal love, family love, or whatever love it is, check yourself. Should not go to the extreme. When I get to the extreme, it becomes bad. Okay? Family love also. Well, for that matter, some parents love only their own kids and they treat other kids as bad guys. So whenever their kids are fighting or quarreling, it's always their kids in the right and others are in the wrong. No matter how they'll protect their kids. It is good to protect your kids, but when you know your kids are in the wrong, you have to give justice also sometimes. But when you go to the extent, that's what I say, family love will create a lot of trouble. You've seen some Cantonese series, right? The sister in trouble, the brother never think really. Maybe the sister in the wrong, but the brother says, how could he did that to my sister? And for that sought revenge. Family love. In fact, if you were to see the movie or the series, actually Chinese stories mostly evolve in one theme alone, revenge. You take advantage of my family or my territory or my business or whatever it is, watch out. I will take back whatever I have lost. And their generation will take back whatever their former generation have lost. And it goes on fighting again and again. History repeating itself. I don't know. You analyze it, whether it's that way or not, most of the Cantonese series.
There's no more story really.
Yeah, exactly. But we think in terms of a Buddhist. We don't think in terms of commercial side, okay? If you're a commercial man, of course you have to think in terms of that line. You have to create that kind of stories. But we think in terms of the Buddhist. Do you think it's because of that thing? It's one cause creating another effect. The effect becomes a cause creating another effect. This is what we call paticca samuppada. One cause create the effect becomes a cause for another effect. It goes on like that, unless you know how to put a stop to it. Okay? This is where I find that President Anwar Sadat was a very wise man, the man who was killed. You see, he realized the dream that there is no peace between Israel and Mesir if there is nobody dares to take the bold step to make peace with them. So he dares to go to Israel to make peace with these Israelis amidst the Arabs around him, and he is even willing to forego the rest, to stand firm in his decision to sign the peace pact with Israelis. Because of that, he got back all the land, the Sinai, yes, the Sinai Peninsula and the rest of the territory, without fighting. He can get it back from them. Now, if he was to continue fighting, I think by now, still he cannot get back the piece of land. And for all you know, he'll be fighting a losing war also. But because of that, he lost a lot of friends. But I guess he's a man who has a vision, who dares to go beyond that. He believes that the only way to have peace in Mesir is not continue fighting, but that someone must take the lead to go beyond that level. Because of that, he pays his life. Somebody cannot stand such a wise move. Somebody killed him. Okay? That's besides the story. Now, as what I said just now, metta should be practiced with no discrimination. And I guess the Buddha himself has shown to us through his example. Those disciples he loved most, Ananda, Buddha radiated his metta. Sariputta, Moggallana, and all his disciples, the Buddha radiated his metta towards all of them. Even to those people who hated him. Now, he went down to Avijaya not because the Buddha cursed him, because of his own action, Please to get it correct. But the Buddha did not say, I say, you go down to Avijaya. The Buddha did not say that. The Buddha says, he one day will also become a Buddha, a Pacceka Buddha. So you see the kind of level of love that Buddha has, even to people who ill-treated him, people who go against him. So by this example that the Buddha has shown to us, there is no discrimination in your practice of metta. To people you love or to people you may not love. You have to show your metta. Okay? Now, of course, some people say, metta means you must show to outside, try to share with all races, all beings and all kinds of, but people forget about themselves. You see, metta you must radiate to yourself also. Now this is not selfish, This is not selfish way of radiating your metta. Why? Firstly, it's very simple. You cannot love others if you do not love yourself. You cannot appreciate others' things if you do not know how to appreciate what you have. Okay? And there are many people who live day to day without loving their own self. They got eyes, they say my eyes is no double line lah. They got nose, my nose a little bit too sharp lah. They got ears a little bit too long lah. Got teeth, the teeth a little bit crooked. Got mouth, the mouth a little bit slanted. We complain a lot. But I guess being a Buddhist, we must learn to be appreciative. When you say you radiate metta to yourself, means you appreciate your physical self. You have eyes, be thankful you can still see, even though you have to wear specs. You have mouth, you have teeth, maybe some of the teeth are gone already, but you still have half of them. Be thankful you at least have teeth. You have hairs. Maybe your hair is not as nice as John Travolta's hair or somebody else's hair, But be appreciative that you still have hair. You don't have to plant hair like some of them have to do it. So, you have to radiate metta to yourself, to appreciate what you have. And being a Buddhist, you must do that every morning. You wake up, I still live another day. There is no guarantee you sleep tonight, you'll wake up tomorrow. Nobody can guarantee that. But when you wake up next morning, do you say, I'm very grateful that I can live another day, as a person. This is what we should do. And this is what I call metta. You must radiate your metta towards yourself. There are many people who are not happy with their life. Wake up every morning, another day. Another working day. I have to see that boss again. I have to see that same stuff again. Those are very negative mental states. Why can't we change it? By practicing a little bit more metta. It's nice. It's another day. Maybe I'll face a lot of challenges in my day, but I'll try to put whatever I can. Whatever I've learned into practice. Why people commit suicide is because people have given up hope on themselves. Of course, the world, they have given up hope towards the people around them. The sister may not be talking to him anymore. The mother may not responding to him. The world has given up hope. But the most important thing in life is that you must learn that you must not give up hope on yourself. And a person who has metta will not give up hope on himself no matter what happens to him. That's why I say if a person who constantly practices metta will appreciate his own self, his body, his talent, his ability, and he will not do foolish things like committing suicide. For a Buddhist, if you practice metta, because you must learn to appreciate your own self. Okay? I guess the message is clear that we must learn to appreciate. In fact, I do appreciate a lot, even though I have white hair since I am 12 years old. I can't do anything. It is hereditary. My mother having a lot of white hairs. I don't dye because dye a lot of problem. Every day you have to spend hours dyeing your hair, you know. And one day you do not dye your hair, it looks different. People say, how come you become so old already? Not that kind of things, right? So it's best to stay natural. When you stay natural, people get natural with you, it gets natural. Okay? So you don't have to dye. So even though I may have certain white hairs here and there because of heredity and things like that, but I appreciate, at least I have hairs. I don't have to go bald and put on a wig or something like that. You see? You must learn to appreciate what you have. Okay? Right. So remember, metta is not just radiating to people outside you, but to yourself also. Don't forget yourself. Some people look at outside so much they have forgotten themselves. And I guess if you want to progress in the spiritual path, you must remember yourself also. You do a lot of dharma, you do a lot of sila, you do a lot of charity, you do a lot of servicing to others, but you must not forget yourself also. Okay? So, sometimes you have to think of yourself. Not selfish. You must not forget yourself. Alright? Right. Now, the antithesis of metta is anger, of course. We use metta because we want to overcome the anger, the ill will in us. So we use metta as a kind of a penawar. You know, bahasa Malaysia penawar. Antidote towards this disease which you call anger or ill will. So maybe, I'm just giving a suggestion. If you think you are very hot-tempered or you get irritated very easily, maybe it's time for you to practice metta. If you think you are that, belongs to that category. I'm not saying you are, but if you think you are, then I think you have to practice metta more. Okay? Now, basically, if a person practices metta or this Buddhist form of love constantly, he has 11 powers. That's why the topic of my talk today is the power of love. Now, this love, the Buddhist definition of love, there are 11 powers you'll gain. Of course, I'm not asking you to gain all this power, but if you constantly practice, it comes naturally. Okay? There are 11 powers that you have, and this is what I call the power of love. Number 1 is the ability to sleep well. Oh, you say, oh, so easy, I can sleep every day. All I have to do is just to play a few games of squash or badminton, I go back to sleep. But not that kind. That one, maybe you're physically tired, therefore you go to sleep. You know, many people nowadays, especially in a modern society, they cannot sleep well. They went up to the bed, toss and turn, right side, left side, sleep the dog posture. The other way, couldn't sleep also. Take pills, 1 pill, 2 pills, 3 pills, still cannot sleep. You know, there are many people who does not have the power to sleep every day, you know that. Of course we take it for granted, like, oh, I can sleep very well. Wait till one day you cannot sleep. Wait till one night you count the hours. Then you know how terrible it is to spend a sleepless night. One night sleepless already torturing you. Imagine if a person had to spend days and nights not being able to sleep. It's torturing. So the power of love, of practicing this metta is number 1, you're able to sleep well. Of course, it is common sense. Sometimes we forget about common sense. You see, imagine, for example, myself and brother Eric. So happened afterwards I quarrel with him. Just say, for example, because of some things I quarrel with him. Or maybe I quarrel with him just before midnight. Then I go back home. Do you think I can sleep very well? Do you think? Forget about Eric. Sleep. You think I can do that? Ordinary people, you think they can do it? You'll be thinking, Ayya, just now so stupid. I should have said this, Shouldn't we give him chance, Ayya, tomorrow I must. You keep on thinking and thinking and thinking. Even before you sleep, and during sleep, it's like you keep on thinking, So you will not have good sleep. So a person who have a lot of anger, who show a lot of ill will, every day in his daily life, day and night, his mind will have a lot of hatred going on. And that will carry even to his sleep. Naturally, he does not sleep well. Even if he sleeps, his mind is not asleep. It's active. So it's common sense. Some people cannot sleep at night is because they have not gone to the root of their problem. What problem do they have? These people who cannot sleep, naturally they are having problems. Company problem, personal problems, whatever problems. They have to identify what are the problems. Taking sleeping pill does not help. It only suppresses it for a while. Taking drugs does not help. It only suppresses. So the Buddhist approach is you must go to the root of the problem. What is troubling you so that you can't sleep? You had a quarrel with your girlfriend. Go and patch up with her. Company having problem. Okay, find a solution towards that. Or maybe cannot discuss with other professionals or other friends. This is where sometimes it's good to have spiritual friends. When you have trouble, go to them for advice. They may see things in a different angle and that will help you. You see, sometimes when we are in trouble, our mental state is very narrowed, We think on one track only, That's it. Cannot. But if we think as an outsider, we find that the solution is not difficult, sometimes. Okay? So what is the first power? Sleep well. Don't underestimate sleeping, Because when you can't sleep, then you know how nice it is if you can sleep. That power is with you, but you will lose it if you're not careful. You create a lot of problem with yourself, and you're landed in that kind of situation. That's the first power you have. Okay. Power number 2 that you can have if you practice metta. Yes? Okay, that one we can include afterwards. I'm going according to the scriptures, so that we systematically according to the scriptures. That one we can consider afterwards. Okay? Now, since you can sleep well, when you sleep, you must remember to wake up. You don't just sleep and that's it, Okay, remember to wake up also. So when you wake up, a person who constantly practices this love, metta, this loving kindness, he will wake up cheerfully. Now the best test for yourself is every day when you wake up, go to the mirror, look at yourself. Without the makeup, without all other things, look at yourself. How do you look like? Do you feel happy to wake up? Or do you drag yourself to wake up? Look at yourself. Many people wake up in the morning with a bulldog face, very long. Not very happy, Every day wake up, they're not happy. Why? Probably they do not have enough sleep last night. Probably they have a troubled sleep last night. And this morning, even though they have 10 hours of sleep, yet that 10 hours is not equivalent to 10 hours, It's less than that. Maybe 2 hours of real sleep. The rest are all video game playing, the whole night through. So when they wake up, they are not fresh. So they have all kinds of face. They're not happy. So my suggestion is for Buddhists normally, if you wake up, go to the mirror, smile to the mirror. Of course, don't do it in front of your friends, they think you're crazy, Do it in your bathroom itself. There is if there's a mirror, look into the mirrors and smile. Happy day. May I have a happy day? Smile. Because this is to recharge yourself, reorientate yourself. That I want to have a happy day today. Whatever is past yesterday or last night. But I want to start this fresh day anew. Okay? Can try? Huh? There are many people who complains to me that Buddhist community are very cold. I says, well, if the Buddhists themselves do not want to smile more, naturally it's cold. Some people say it's very nice to be in a church because people smile often. I say, well, it doesn't matter whether the smile is genuine or artificial, but at least they smile, you see. But I think the Buddhists are very stingy in terms of their smile. We don't like to smile, you know. I think if we have to change the trend, you know, look at each other, smile, it doesn't cost much. All you have to do is just to lift up your lips and give a smile. It makes things easier for people. Sometimes I'm sure you have gone to certain government counter, you go to a reception counter, they hardly smile to you. And they pull a long face, you know. You don't feel like asking anything more. But if a person just smile, yes, that word yes means you can ask anything you want. You feel happy to be there. So same thing, I guess, if we want to change a Buddhist community, and we talk a lot about metta, we have to show it first through our facial appearances, our facial expression. Smile. Make yourself happy. And most of the Buddha images are crafted with a smile on the lips. If you notice, of course, there are some Buddha images are not well crafted, looks horrible, you know, some. But most Buddha images are very well crafted. Have a smile on the lips there. That's why the Buddha image is very different from other idols, which are very fearful sometimes, if we look at. It should give you a kind of peace and calm. Okay? So, first power is sleep well. Second power, wake up happily or cheerfully. Don't underestimate. Many of us don't sleep well, we don't wake up early, cheerfully. Okay? Now, next one. The third power is that you're able to sleep with no bad dreams. Of course, this is again common sense. See, why people have dreams? There are many reasons why dreams happen to each individual. I'm not a dream teller, but there are some things which are common sense. You see, some people have dreams because they cannot achieve in their daily life, they have it in their dream. For example, I have a quarrel with Brother Eric again. For example, he's so big size, I'm so small size. Maybe my strength is not comparable to his. So in my daily life, I cannot fight with him. No way. But I carry that thought, I must beat him one day. So every day I carry that kind of thought in my mind. When I go to sleep, I make dreams. Oh, I'm able to punch Eric, kick him, he fell, I feel so happy in my dreams, Sometimes dream is a manifestation of what you cannot achieve in your daily life. People have dreams because of that. What I cannot do in my daily life, I manifest it in my dream, and I try to achieve in my dream. That's what we call fantasy. Okay? So, a person who constantly practices metta will have no bad dreams. If ever there is a dream, that dream will be a good dream. A happy dream. There are many people who sleep at night, they'll have all kinds of awful dreams. Ghosts chasing after them, they run and up the cliff, and then they found that it's a dead end, then there's no way, the ghost is coming, they have to jump down the cliff. Next thing they realize they fell onto the floor. All kinds of bad dreams they have. But if you constantly practice metta, you not only sleep well, wake up happily, in between the sleep, you have no bad dreams. This is what we call you sleep soundly. Don't interpret wrongly. Sleep soundly doesn't mean you sleep all kinds of noise. That is sleeping, different kind of sleep. Sleeping soundly. Okay? So 3 powers you know already when you practice metta. Number 4. If you constantly practice metta, you are beloved by fellow human beings. That means human beings will tend to love. You see, some people just have the charisma, They are there, people like to crowd around them. Why certain monks, people like to crowd around certain monks? Because certain monks have certain charisma, a certain aura of goodness, that people like to be around them. You feel safe to be around them. You feel happy to be around them. Some people, you don't feel happy to be around them. You look at the face, this guy, don't know whether he will rob me or not, whether he will make trouble, And especially when you go up lift, let's say 11 o'clock, especially if you're a girl, go into the lift, suddenly a man came in with all kind of beard and moustache, the eyes look so fierce, you have reason to feel fearful. Because the aura is not good. Okay? Because his face doesn't tell you that he has enough metta. So you have reason to feel fearful also. Okay? So, now a person who constantly practices metta, you find that he's easily approachable. And he's nice to be with. He doesn't give you a lot of headaches and trouble when you are with him. So, because of that, he is beloved by human beings who are associated with him. I'm sure in the Buddhist community there are many such people around that you feel happy to be with. And you feel peaceful, you feel nice to be with them. And you feel very safe to be with them also. Because of their aura of goodness. Okay? And in fact, I believe the Buddha was very successful for 45 years of preaching. Not because he's very good in talking, Not because of that. That one, any koyok seller on the roadside can do that. They're very good in talking. The Buddha was successful not because of that. The Buddha was successful because he is easily approachable. And he doesn't wait for people to come to him. He goes to people also if there is a need. For example, Angulimala. He went all the way to help this Angulimala. The boy Sopaka. He went all the way to help this boy. Okay? So the Buddha was successful not because he's good in preaching. Not because all the time he talked about Four Noble Truths. The Buddha did not always talk about Four Noble Truths. So it's very wrong to think that Buddha preached all the time, He was not preaching. In fact, he was helping people. He was successful because of this. What we call, I like to call it as the human touch approach. He had this kind of approach in his lifetime. The Buddha preached, served mankind for 45 years. You know how many hours the Buddha slept every day? 4 hours? 2 hours. 22 hours the Buddha spent with others. Serving others. And you times 22 hours by 45 years, how much time he spent for mankind? We have 24 hours. We spend 8 hours working, or more than that, maybe some of us 10 hours or 12 hours working. 8 hours sleeping. What do we do with the rest of the 8 hours? Sometimes we idle away. This is where sometimes there's no reason for us, for Buddhists, to spend at least 1 hour or 2 hours per day, at least to learn up Dharma or to share Dharma with others. I'm sure we can do that. Right? If you can cut a cake into 3 parts, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for sleep, you still have 8 hours free. What are we going to do with that 8 hours free? Can't we spend 1 hour or 2 hours for our own Dharma learning? Or can't we spend it for Dharma sharing? So we have to think. The
The Buddha used 22 hours per day for 45 years. I do not know whether I can live for until 45 or not. But the Buddha preached for 45 years. Imagine the kind of work he has done. So sometimes when we get a little bit upset, a lot of work in the Buddhist society, don't get too upset. The Buddha worked harder than us in every way. So what we have contributed is only very small percentage compared to the Buddha. Okay? So number 4, you are beloved by fellow human being. Number 5. Yes? You are beloved by non-human beings. Animals like dogs and cats. Person who have more love, to find that easily he can mix with the dogs and the cats easily. And person who have a lot of hatred, the dogs will also sense it. Sometimes the dogs just sense it. When you go near, if you have not enough love, he feels his security is threatened. And he shows that through that kind of action. Okay? And in fact, the Buddha has shown to us also in the Jaya Mangala Gatha. He has shown to us how he subdued this wild elephant. You know what's the elephant's name? Nalagiri. This elephant intoxicated with the intoxicants. So, charged against the Buddha. All the others, disciples were afraid, but the Buddha stood there, radiated his metta. And the elephant knelt down in front of the Buddha. Of course, don't do that. If your metta is not strong, don't do that. If the elephant charges against you, please run for your life. Don't try to be like a Buddha when you are not one, you see. But this is only an example that the Buddha had. The metta is so strong that even a wild animal, intoxicated, can, feel his metta. So maybe what we can do is we can radiate this kind of thought towards human being and certain not so wild animal. You can first try doing that. So sometime when you practice Buddhism, you must apply a little bit of wisdom. The Buddha stand in front of the elephant. I must do that also. For all you know, you'll be flat by then. So apply a little bit of wisdom. And just now I said the Buddha slept for 2 hours. Don't do that also. You're not a Buddha. If you need 8 hours sleep, please sleep 8 hours. But don't sleep more than what you need. Okay? But when you have reached certain stages, maybe you don't need so much rest. You know how to conserve your energy. Okay? That's number 5. Maybe you can go through again. Number 1, sleep. Sleep well. Sleep peacefully. Wake up cheerfully. And in between your sleep, no bad dreams. Number 4, love by fellow human beings. Number 5, love by non-human beings, animals, or even those beings outside that you cannot see, devas. But the devas is under next category. Number 6, you are protected by heavenly beings. A person who constantly practices or radiate these thoughts of loving kindness, metta, they are protected by heavenly beings. Okay? Now, there are certain times in our life, certain people, by right they should have died in an accident, but they did not. They escaped. And they do not know why they escaped. People who believe in God will say God saved them, of course. But for a Buddhist, we believe sometimes we are protected by own karma. Sometimes we are protected by these heavenly beings. Okay, these heavenly beings. Why? Basically, these heavenly beings, they live on goodness. Their food are not the kind of food we take. Their food are the goodness that they, happiness and goodness that they can create or that they see. So they'll be very happy if they see fellow human beings doing a lot of goodness, good deeds. So normally people who are very kind and good and holy, they have the personal guardian deity beside him. Normally they have. Because by standing next to you or besides you and seeing you doing good all the time, they feel happy, they prolong their life. Their lifespan also in the heavenly plane. That's why they like to be near people who are kind and good. Another reason why devas like to be near with these people is because people who are kind and good, they have certain good smell from their body. Okay? And person who is not... Now the Buddha have a natural perfume, if you study, one of the characteristics of the Buddha is that he has natural fragrance because of his goodness. Okay? Don't worry about your smell. We have human smell, don't worry. Now those people who are not kind or evil, their body have certain kind of smell, which the devas does not like. They don't like to be near in such human beings who are not kind, who are not good, who are not wholesome. Okay? So your smell is very important, Every being has their own smell. The dogs have... Among the dogs themselves, they have their own smell. They can smell their own group, And we can smell the dog smell also, right? Very much different from human smell, Some people don't like the smell. Some people alright. Okay? So human being also, among certain people, you feel they are very nice to be with. It's because of their aura, it's because of that natural fragrance. So these heavenly beings always protect people who are good, people who practice metta. Why? Partly also because of their own good also. Their lifespan lengthened because of your good deeds. They feel happy. Okay? That's number 6. Are you still following me? Yes, I know it's very difficult for you to digest in the afternoon. Okay? Number 7. Person who constantly practice metta will be free from fire, poisons, and weapons. Okay? That means if there is a war, let's say, in this country, many people die, but somehow you escape. The bomb may be dropped down there, but somehow you escape. Don't say no. Like for example, recently the case in Perak, many people die of poison, kids, but some escape. Some manage to be discharged and go back home. You never know, Probably, some of these have done a lot of good deeds in the past, radiating a lot of goodness, a lot of loving thoughts. And because of that, they are protected. Okay? So we, as a Buddhist, we must believe in this, these karmic things, Because it's very important, Karma, for example, for a person may sit in the same car, meet, same accident in the same spot at the same time. The fate of these 4 persons is not the same. One person may die terribly. One person may suffer severe injury. One person may have, go unconscious and maybe die later on also. But one person may escape unhurt. Same car, same place, same accident. Different fate. Because each individual's karma is different. So if your karma is good, if you constantly practice a lot of goodness, especially radiant thoughts of loving kindness, you are protected from misfortune. Okay? Now this is very difficult to believe if you don't believe. Okay? But as Buddhist, as for myself, I believe in this, that the goodness will protect you. Whenever you go, you're free from all this trouble. Okay? That's number 7. Number 8. Concentration is quickly possible. That means if you want to concentrate, very easily you can concentrate. Now this is especially true for working people, good for students. Some student open up a book, they try to study for 2 hours, Same page. For all you know, same line or same paragraph. Why? Because the mind wanders. Sit down, look at the words, think about afternoon must go for football game. Night time must go for movie. Tomorrow must go for somebody's birthday party. The mind wanders. So how can you get your concentration easily? This is again common sense. A person who constantly practices the meditation of metta bhavana, he can concentrate things better, faster. And because of that, his productivity goes up, if you talk in terms of productivity. Okay? That's why certain monks, you can see, it's fantastic. How can they work so, fantastically, in his approaches. You can do so many things. Why? Because they don't waste energy unnecessarily. When they sit down to work, that's it. Solid work. And they get it done quickly. Some people will do the same thing, they take hours to finish. And some others take 1 or 2 hours can finish. The difference is in terms of your concentration. Okay? This is again common sense. Huh? So if you think your concentration is no good, your memory power drop already, maybe practice of metta bhavana will help you. Okay? How many here is a student? Still studying? 1. Maybe you try metta bhavana, it will help. Yeah? I can tell you because myself is still studying now, continuing my study. I don't have to waste a lot of time sitting down. The most I spend is about 10 minutes to get myself reoriented to the whatever passage of books that I have to read. And even doing any work, I just sit down, I spend about 10 minutes to get myself orientated, then I do my work really. Concentration is easily got. Okay? Now all these things, they are not very far away from you, If you constantly practice metta, it is part and parcel of yourself. The power is within you. Okay? Don't say it's impossible. It is possible. Matter whether you want to practice or not. Okay? Next. Person who constantly practice this metta will have the power. Next power is radiant facial appearance. You got a very nice facial appearance. Of course, don't crave for that lah. This is only come naturally when you practice. You got a good face. People look at you, people don't feel afraid to see your face. Of course, it's natural. In fact, this is common sense again. You see, when you get angry, do you look pretty? Handsome? Look at yourself when you get angry next time in the mirror. See how beautiful you are. Even you get the Miss Universe here, you make the Miss Universe get angry, look at her face. Or sometimes no need, you go to some of the offices, look at some of the office girls, or those workers in the office, and they get angry, they get irritated. No matter how beautiful she may be, do you think she's beautiful when she's angry? Yes or no? Now, honest statement. No experience, never mind. Okay. Next time when you have that experience, think about it. Huh? But from my experience, no matter how beautiful you may be externally, but if you are angry, you don't look beautiful. Of course, when you love a girl, you say, oh, you look beautiful even when you get angry. That's a different story. Huh? That's a love story altogether. But we're talking about generally, okay? That is, you're too obsessed with love. That's a different story altogether. You see, when you get angry, your muscle gets tense. Your muscle gets tense. Your heartbeat beats 3 times faster than normal heartbeats. Okay? It is very straining to the heart, You breathe faster than normal. That's why they say when you get angry, you get temia. Hokkien, they say temia. Huh? Because of that. Because you breathe. Normally, when you get angry, just remember, I always think, when I get angry, if I ever get angry, I think about my breath. My breath gets shorter and shorter. You get angry. And you exactly like a person before dying, you know that? Grasping for breath. I have seen how my father passed away. I have seen some people passing away. The breath is very short, grasping for breath. So always when you get angry, think about that. We are shortening our life. So why should we get angry unnecessarily sometimes? Irritated over small things. Okay? And this is where when you do meditation, they ask you to observe your physical movement, your feelings. And especially when you're angry, observe your breath. Your breath gets very short, Your heart beats 3 times faster. You get older faster 3 times. So if you can live until 60, now you cut down by 3 times, Okay? Now this is scientific. We're not. In fact, when the Buddha says, this is a power you can have, that means you have a radial facial appearance, it is scientific. A person who gets angry easily will have a very tense muscle. His face won't look nice. He looks haggard. It's not peaceful, you look at his face. Okay? So now you know how to make yourself look pretty, right? No need ICI, no need all this, Okay? Pretty and handsome, of course, apply to. Okay? That's number 9. Number 10. Can guess? Of course, number 9, it means you live longer also, when you don't get angry easily. But number 10 is when you die peacefully. That one also power. Of course. Some people cannot die peacefully, you know that? Some people die in a very tragic way, involved in an accident. The other day I just saw a Chinese newspaper, this girl involved in an accident in Malacca, the Aikro highway. The car went overturned and then you can see from photo the 2 legs came out from the car. That's not good death. There are many kinds of ways you can die. The Buddhists teach you how to die peacefully only. And the way to die peacefully is to practice metta. When you don't have hatred in your mind, there's no reason for you to get irritated and upset and the mind be in trouble before you die. And you die peacefully. It is a very, very, very noble way of dying. Of course, I'm not asking you to die now, but this is according to scripture. A person who constantly practices metta will die peacefully. He has no worry, he has no grudge against anybody. He doesn't have to worry whether his enemy will come to him or not before he dies. Take away his property, things like that. Okay? And number 11, if he does not attain certain stage of sainthood, when he dies, he will be reborn in a Brahma world. Very high stage of existence. Because of his purity of the mind. Wholesome mind which he has. So can we go through the 11 again? Well, I think this is the time. Wake up and sleeping is the most relevant to all of us. Okay. Sleep peacefully. Wake up cheerfully. No bad dreams. Beloved by human beings, by non-human beings, protected devas, free from misfortune of fire, poison and weapon. Number 8, concentration easily available. Now life. Number 9, long life. You got a good facial appearance, your physical body okay. Because when you get angry, a lot of that kind of secretion been secrete. That's why some people they got gastritis not because they don't take regular meal. They got angry easily, worry unnecessarily. In fact, nowadays a lot of people get gastritis case because of that. Worries, anger a lot. Especially in the modern society, where you challenge with people and then you get that kind of thing. So maybe Metta Bhavana will help you. Number 10, diaphysical. This one I think everybody knows, huh? Number 11. If you never attain certain stage of those sainthood, you'll be reborn in Brahma world because of the purity of the mind. Okay, now I will not tell you a lot of story about this because I think I've spoken enough. But basically, how to practice this metta? You know how to practice? Now, of course, metta bhavana is one of them, which I will talk afterwards. But the other way you can do is try to always recollect the advice of the Buddha. Every time when you start to have jealousy, every time you start to get angry, think what the Buddha have advised us. Hate is not overcome by hate, but by love alone. Some more? No more. That's all the Buddha preached, is it? Yes? Love thy neighbor. Well, that's in Christianity, huh? Some cheeky fellow say, love thy neighbor's daughter, huh? They add in additional things at the back. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about that. Now try to recollect the Buddha's advice about angry and things like that, huh? And in fact, like for example, the powers that the Buddha have given, the 11 powers, like not to get angry, when you get angry, this is what will happen to you, So by not getting angry, when you practice metta, this is what you have. These are the advice you must always constantly remember. Okay? The other thing is, if you want to practice metta, you must try to recollect some of the good and noble qualities of the person you do not like. Now, as Buddhists, we do not look at everybody as a bad guy. That is why the Buddhist preaching method is very different from Christians. This I can say to you because the Christian preaching method is different in the sense that they look at others as all are sinners. They have been saved. They want to help you to save. So when they look at you, sinners, and they look at you as you are not a good person. Only through him and through somebody, you can only become good and be saved. But the Buddhist method is different. We look at every individual that as if you have a Buddha nature in you. Every one of us have this Buddha nature. What is actually Buddha nature? The goodness in you. Everyone has this good potential to become good. You can become good. And I always like to bring example of Bota Chin, right? He may be a very bad guy, kill here, rob here and there. But before he passed away, he was hanged. What did he do? He wanted to donate his eyes. That very thought itself is goodness. That shows the existence of the Buddha nature in him. So for a Buddhist, we don't try to look at the bad point of others. You must try to look at the good point of others. And try to learn to work with that good point. And that's how you learn to love that person more. You see, the more you look at the bad point of a person, the more you hate that person. But the more you look at his good point, the more you learn to appreciate his existence. That's why sometimes he says, well, he may be hot-tempered, but he is very helpful, not bad like he. That is another way. So next time when you want to get angry with somebody, with your mother or whatever it is, because your mother always nag or your father always nag, think twice. Think 3 times, 4 times, many times. Recollect all the good things he or she has done for you. Then you say, after all, my mother also not so bad. She may be a little bit naggy, but she's very thoughtful lady. Okay? So there's another way you can do it. Another way how you can practice metta is try to review the law of karma. Okay? If that person is very bad towards you, don't get angry with him. After all, he has his own karma to face. You're not going to bear the karma, the result, He's going to bear the result. So why should you get angry over him? Some people, it's not easy to change. This is what I always try to say, It's so difficult to change yourself. What not to change others? You know? I know all of us here, including myself, every one of us here have weaknesses. Maybe the degree is different only. And you know yourself also that it's difficult to change your own bad habit. Agree? Sometimes you say, I must not smoke, but still you smoke. Or I must not do this, but still you do the same mistake again and again. So it's so difficult to change our own bad habits. What more to change others? So don't try to change others. Sometimes we get frustrated because we try to change others, thinking we can succeed. I want to change him. He's so hot-tempered. How to change? Unless he himself wants to be changed. Otherwise, there's no way to change him. We can only create surrounding atmosphere for him to change. But the final move is still he himself decide whether he wants to be changed or not. So don't get angry with somebody. It's not easy to change a person. The best thing to do is to change ourselves. Your weaknesses, overcome it. Okay? So try to understand the law of karma. Each has its own karma to face. So when you think about that, you don't have to angry. Like some people very very upset when they say, oh, that monk shouldn't be like that now. I always like to tell them, monks have their own karma to face also. As long as they're not enlightened, they're still an ordinary human being. They're going through this process of transformation. And it takes time. If they have done something wrong, you try to create trouble among the monks because you feel that monks is this and that. Actually, you're causing schism in the monk. Some people will do that, and that is very bad deeds, according to Buddhism, very bad, serious karma. But besides that, after all, that monk has his own karma to face. If he wears a robe, he doesn't keep the precepts, he has his karma to face. In fact, very serious karma to face. So why should we pass comment about the monks? You observe your own precepts. Care for yourself. Check yourself well first. Okay? So, review the law of karma. And, of course, the way to overcome your anger and things like that, I think basically is for you to practice metta bhavana every night before you sleep. How many of you have been practicing this every night before you sleep? Practicing metta bhavana? 1. Now don't feel shy, 2. Okay, good. Now you must constantly try to do it every night. Take about 5 minutes if you can. First you start off with 5 minutes. Sit down quietly after you clean yourself. Brush your teeth just before you retire. If you got a Buddha altar, kneel before the Buddha altar. If you don't have, if you are renting a room only in your room, you can do it yourself. Try to practice this radiation of loving kindness. Okay? First, of course, as what I said just now, you must radiate towards yourself. Must learn to love your own self first. Not selfish, but this is to appreciate what you have. Then you try to radiate these thoughts to those who are near to you, your parents, your brothers and sisters, your relatives, those teachers who have helped you along the way, spiritual teacher. Radiate these thoughts to them. Then later you can go a little bit further to your friends, to all neutral people, to the Muslims, to the Hindus, to the Christians, and eventually, you can even radiate to the people that have hatred against you. And finally, to all beings in this universe. Of course, I will not go into this in detail. Maybe some of the time we can go into that. So with that, I would like to end my talk here. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.